Look at the sheer scale of the Indian subcontinent. Managing a population this large, divided by thousands of distinct languages and cultures, from a single central office is a logistical impossibility. Stability depends on a division of authority. Yet the word federation is entirely absent from the Indian Constitution, the longest written constitution in the world. Instead, Article 1 defines India as a union of states. While the American model relies on independent states forming a central hub, India follows the Canadian model. Here, a central authority fractures to create smaller state subsets. This architecture creates a unitary bias, where the gravitational pull of the union constantly draws the states inward. By design, the Indian Constitution functions as a system engineered to prioritize national integration over state autonomy. Comparing federal features against unitary ones, federal systems rely on dual government and divided powers, while unitary systems vest power centrally. India starts with a dual polity, but shifts towards centralizing traits, enforcing a strong center, a single constitution, and single citizenship. Understanding this architecture requires deconstructing it across three distinct constitutional axes. These are the pillars of center-state relations: legislative and administrative relations in Part 11, and financial relations in Part 12. Each of these pillars contains specific override mechanisms that hard-code ultimate authority directly into the center. Under the legislative pillar, Parliament possesses the authority to make laws for the entire territory of India. A state legislature is restricted to making laws only for its own specific territory. The seventh schedule organizes all legislative subjects into a three-tiered funnel: the union list, the concurrent list, and the state list. The quantitative dominance of the center is clear. The union list holds 100 subjects where Parliament has exclusive power. The concurrent list has 52 shared subjects, leaving the states with just 61 exclusive subjects. If a conflict arises, the hierarchy is absolute. Union law takes precedence over both lower tiers, and a central law in the concurrent list will physically overwrite a competing state law. Then there is Article 248, which governs residuary powers. Any new or undefined subject, like a future technology, is vacuumed straight to the top tier, granting Parliament exclusive authority to regulate it by default. Parliament is even empowered to legislate directly on the state list under 5 extraordinary circumstances, such as during a national emergency or if the Rajya Sabha passes a specific resolution. This legislative structure functions as a hierarchical funnel designed to let the center legally overwrite states whenever national interests are at stake. The administrative pillar follows the same logic. While executive power usually mirrors legislative jurisdiction, laws require central enforcement to remain effective. Unlike federal systems that maintain separate federal and state court systems, India utilizes an integrated judiciary. This flowchart maps an integrated judicial system. A single hierarchy of courts enforces both central and state laws, which eliminates administrative diversity in remedial procedures. The Constitution places 2 strict obligations on state executive power. It must ensure compliance with parliamentary laws and cannot impede the center's own executive power. If a state fails to follow these rules, the center invokes Article 365. This serves as the ultimate coercive sanction. Under Article 365, ignoring a central direction constitutes a failure of the state's constitutional machinery. This allows the immediate imposition of President's rule, placing the state's functions directly under central control. Administrative control is also human. The All India services, like the IAS and IPS, are recruited and trained by the center, yet they occupy the most powerful executive positions within the individual states. Through unified courts, central administrative agents, and the threat of Article 365, the center maintains absolute friction control over the subcontinent. The third pillar is financial. Part 12 allocates taxing powers with a distinct rigidity, as there is almost no concurrent jurisdiction for taxes. Authority to levy a tax belongs exclusively to one level of government or the other. This creates a built-in constitutional asymmetry, known as the vertical fiscal imbalance. The center receives the fast-growing revenue streams, such as corporate and personal income taxes. The states, however, carry the burden of fast-growing expenditure responsibilities, like healthcare and social welfare. The framers purposefully integrated this asymmetry into the system, creating a permanent need for a central solution to keep the state solvent. That solution is Article 280, the creation of the Finance Commission every 5 years to bridge this structural gap. The Commission manages the divisible pool, the central tax resources that must be shared. The Commission acts as a regulator, routing the center's capital down into the thirsty reservoirs of the states. By centralizing high-yield revenue and distributing it back down, the Constitution ensures that states remain financially dependent on the Union's cooperation. During peacetime, this asymmetric system operates through coordination mechanisms like the Interstate Council, which exists to investigate subjects of common interest. But the system's ultimate nature is revealed during a crisis. Articles 352, 356, and 360 govern national, state, and financial emergencies. These articles are constitutional sleep switches. Triggered, they grant the center total control over all 3 pillars. The quasi-federal structure collapses. Executive, legislative, and financial powers route directly to Parliament, bypassing state governments entirely without formally suspending them. These emergency provisions prove the ultimate design. The Constitution is built to transform India into a purely unitary state the moment its survival is threatened. The legislative funnel, the administrative coercion, and the financial imbalances all point to a single architectural truth. This is why the framers adopted the Canadian model, chose the word union over federation, and centralizing power at every turn. The framers engineered this asymmetry intentionally. Governing such a vast and segmented population required a system that prioritizes national cohesion and security over rigid state autonomy. Indian federalism acts as a structurally fortified system engineered to hold a vast, diverse subcontinent together at all costs.